Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Simon Brown, a driving instructor here. It's been a while, sorry, I've had no internet and it's been a little bit up in the air, so back on the videos. This is a driving test taking place on December 11th. So this is my final test of 2024 and it's ended pretty well. This is Ryan, my student. Ryan came to me, had a bit of a bad experience on his first test, unfortunately. Got a bit unlucky on his first driving test in his own car. I teach his partner to drive, and he came to me and we did some lessons, making sure he was up to scratch. He was already at a really good standard anyway, just did a bit of extra work. And I'm very happy to say that this driving test you are witnessing right now is faultless. Ryan got 0 faults on his driving test, so I've decided to do a commentary track on it. I don't always do commentary on tests because sometimes they're the same route, sometimes you just see the same thing really. But I thought I'd talk a little bit about what Ryan did so well and what got him a 0 fault driving test and the examiner deciding to give him 0 faults. And it's just the safety aspect of it really, and how well he's controlling things, the decisions he's making, the sensible road progress he's making when it's safe, a lot of good awareness and planning about his journey. I haven't watched this. I know where he's gone on his test. He told me what route he'd taken. So I know where he's headed, but I don't actually know what he's encountered. So we're going to discover this together. This test is at 2:32 in the afternoon. So we're expecting probably a little bit of score traffic towards the end of the test. But during the first bit, it should be pretty light on the ground, to be honest with me. He's just giving way to that second vehicle nicely. We spoke a little bit about judgment. Ryan is a mechanic, so Ryan's got quite a nice aptitude for handling vehicles anyway. And we spoke a little bit about safe situations and making things safe rather than taking that first gap that might be slightly too risky. And we don't want to make anyone stop, swerve or swear, basically. So as long as you're not falling in foul of the 3 S's, making anybody stop, swerve or swear, you're in a good spot. Now we are going left on the roundabout, which is an interesting change to this test route because I expected him to turn right here. So we're going to be going into this route completely blind because I thought he was going to turn right on that roundabout, but we're going left apparently. So we're heading down to Trench Lock Gyratory, 50 speed limit road. Got a lorry ahead of us. We're picking up speed, but we're probably not going flat out 50 because of the lorry. The lorry obviously is not maybe quite heavy, maybe not accelerating quite as heavily. Obviously, it isn't able to accelerate as heavy, so we are having to go a little bit steadier, keeping a nice distance between us and the lorry as well, so the lorry can still see us. We're not sitting in his blind spot, and if they brake suddenly, we can deal with it. So we're going, by the looks of it, into the middle lane, which means we're either taking exit 2 for the A518, exit 3 for Trench, or exit 4 for the dual carriageway. Let's see where he goes. Oh, we're now moving to the right-hand lane. Okay, interesting. There's no one there. He'll have definitely checked his mirrors and indicated. Otherwise, we'd have got faults, and we didn't get any faults, so that we obviously know he's done that correctly. We're now... And breathe in on those gaps, guys, because that feels really unsettling sometimes. But there is room to go into that space. The lane is still perfectly available for us, so we should be using that space. He's done well to not linger by the blind spot of the lorry as well, so the lorry can see him ahead of him. Now, where are we going? Are we going right off the jungle land in KFC? Yeah, we are, okay. So then we're checking. Oh, no, actually. Oh, now we're coming across the left lane. Okay, yeah, right. So we are taking the jungle land exit, okay. In an ideal world, I'd like Ryan to move across to that left lane a little bit sooner, because if that traffic was heavier, like if that van had appeared that's behind us before that, the van would have taken our space and we'd have struggled to get across there. So as soon as you're past that dual carriageway exit, get straight into that left lane once you've checked your mirrors, okay? Coming to jungle land. Now this is a pain in the ass, this roundabout, excuse my language, because look at the sign on the left. Left lane is left turn only. Right lane goes ahead. So we're in the left-hand lane. So we're turning left. Okay. I don't know where we're going, basically. We're heading off to what is eventually going to be Oaken Gates. This is Summerfield Road, and 30 speed limit. We're going to change to 40 a bit further up the road. So we know this road from driving test videos and from test routes, and this road is used a lot on driving test. But yeah, the route that Ryan told me is a bit different to this. It's not that's a problem. Ryan's capable of driving anywhere, so it's not an issue. And we may end up at the same place. I don't know. It seems a bit of a weird mishmash of routes if that is the case, and examiners maybe have changed it, or and we only find out test routes, guys, by doing things like this, by sitting in on tests or dash camming the tests and seeing where people go. From a legal standpoint, I'll just tell you a bit about dash cams on driving tests, because a lot of people think you can't use dash cams on driving tests. You can, as long as the audio is muted. Data protection prohibits us from recording any visual features of an examiner, so you can't record their face, you can't use an internal camera, and you can't obviously film them when they're outside of the car checking the vehicle at the start of the test or at the end of the test. But you can film the exterior of the vehicle, front and back, as long as the examiner does not feature in the video, and you have to turn the audio off. So my microphone is displayed as off. Well, this is a very new test route, so I'm very happy I've recorded this and I'm doing commentary on it, because this is very interesting. Okay, so this is right turn halfway down Summerfield Road into a new estate they are building in Hadley. Now, this is eventually going to be full of houses, but as it stands, the road is finished, but there aren't many houses being built here as of yet. But this is going to become a full housing estate. I'm guessing there's going to be a pull-up on the left here. Yeah, so we're parking up on the left and we're sorting that out. Ryan, on his previous test, we had a look at his faults on his previous test, and he got a couple of minor faults, so driver faults, not serious faults, nothing to fail him, but minor faults for being a little bit too far away from the curb when he was parking up on the left. And we worked out that he was steering into the curb, but then as he was going towards the curb, he was steering out to the right a little bit too far. So as a result, the front of our car was slightly too far away from the curb, which is why we were getting faults essentially. So we looked at that, looked at just adjusting where he needed to put the car, and we found a reference point on our windscreen that worked brilliantly. So whenever Ryan brought the car in towards the curb, we could look at a reference point on our windscreen wipers and say that's where that curb needs to go. And then we're using our mirror on the left as our secondary check. This is going to sound really amateur, but I've not been down this road in a long time. So they have started building houses, and these actually look quite nice houses, actually. I don't know who... Hadley Gate is the area. So if you're coming onto your driving test, come and see this. It's quite an easy road. There are just cones randomly in the middle of the road. I don't know why they're just randomly there. Maybe you'd have thought they'd have sorted them out. We had a lot of wind last week, but that should have been sorted by now. And then we're coming into an older part of Hadley. So we're coming into the older part with the older houses. It gets quite built up, quite a lot of parked vehicles parked on both sides. A bit of a slalom through these 2-3 vehicles here. Now we're either going to turn left here, or we're parking up again on the left here. Parking up again. Expect this maybe 3, maybe 4 times. I think Ryan said he got pulled up 5 times on this test. But I think one of them was a parallel park, so that doesn't really count. So we're pulling off again when it's safe. Now we're checking around. Finishing with our right blind spot and seeing what's going on. Just waiting for this traffic to come ahead of us and clear out of the way. Moving off. That vehicle's turning right, so we know we're clear to move then, because that vehicle's not going to proceed past that bright blue car. Now we're carrying on ahead. Interesting. So we're going to be coming to the one-way street section of Hadley and coming out to the roundabout almost by HLC, the learning centre and the sports centre. So we're following the road around. And then we join... There is a left turn we can make before the one-way street, so it depends which way we're going. Oh, we are going straight, okay. So we are going to the one-way street section, okay. Now, is there room to get past this vehicle? There is, as long as we go slow. So less space, less speed. going through that gap. That's beautifully navigated by Ryan there, going for that really steady, especially because there's that curb sticking out on the right hand side and you've got to swing it back to the left, to the right, and then to the left, sorry. Now this road feels very narrow, parked cars on the right, brick wall past head height on the left, lowers slightly but still feeling very small and narrow. One-way street though, so no worry about anything coming the other way. And we're going to come up to the roundabout, which is going to be by Hadley Centre in HLC. So where are we going? We're turning right by the looks of it. Ryan's position suggests we're turning right. It's a one-way street, so we can get ourselves positioned really well for it. Coming to the traffic lights at the end of this road. Well, going left? Yeah, going left at the lights by the looks of it. Now this is a crafty one because there is a left arrowed filter light at this set of lights. If you look on this left side, there are actually 4 lights, not 3. So our red light is on currently. You won't get an amber and a green. It will just go straight to a left green arrow, allowing the left lane, so the lane that we are in, to turn left only, which is filtering us off, keeping us safe. So that will go to green very shortly by itself, but the right lane next to us won't be able to move at the same time. They have to wait for the vehicles that you can see just to the left of the camera coming across, and we have to wait for them to stop first of all. So now we have a green filter. Has Ryan seen that? Yes, good, we have seen that. Perfect, so we've gone. That's an interesting one, actually. So this is an interesting route to be seeing, guys. Coming past a crossing. Now that light is out on the left as well, so we've got to be extra careful, extra aware of the other 2 lights on the right-hand side because our green light is out of action on that left-hand light. The bulb is obviously on. Is that vehicle going to turn? No. Lots of hazard perception to think about. 2 vehicles that might be turning right in the protected lane. Are they going to turn? And the cyclist? No, they're not moving, so we're good. Where are we going next? Right at the lights, possibly? Yeah, we're going right at these lights. Okay, so right at the lights, heading towards Montgomery and Hadley Park Road. Make sure we stop before the cycle lane. They're very clear to see the cycle lane there. Ryan's done a good job of that. Well done. Waiting for the traffic lights. Now, these have got separate lights as well, so the left light moves independently to the right light. And the right light is a filter arrow just for us to say we can turn right. So that light is not for us. That's an ahead arrow only. As that Fiesta's just shown you. So excuse me if you hear any cat noises. You're not hearing things. That is my cat trying to jump around. Not the most dainty thing in the world you've ever done, Ron, but no problem. I will post a photo of Ron on the community page so you can see what Ron is like. Yeah, good. I just want to apologise to anyone that thinks they're going to get Ashley Neal quality content here, because with this cat involved, you're definitely not. We're going right at this protected lane, so right turning into protected right turn lane here. Yeah, we are. And we're turning right into Hadley Park Road. Now, Hadley Park Road, again, littered with parked vehicles. Sometimes a van parked just off this corner, so be super conscious around this corner. It is there. Yeah, there it is. There is usually a slightly bigger van parked there as well, and I know that because I actually know the person that owns that van. And I know he lives at that house. But he always parks right on the bend. So we're carrying on. Now, these little bollards on the left and the right make this road feel very narrow in places. So especially when you've got a vehicle like that coming the other way, be prepared to give priority or maybe even stop and have a hiding place just in case. Because the traffic calm measures have been brought in to stop people speeding and going too fast down this road. And they've done a really good job of doing that, actually. Rather than putting road humps in, or rather than putting like chicanes in, that kind of thing, they've added those bollards which bring the road in on the left and the right slightly and narrow the space to make it look like the road is more narrow than it is. And it is, it narrows a little bit. Still a space enough for 2 cars to get past us, but if there was a bus coming the other way, we definitely have to give the bus priority and concede priority there. Now, are we doing a parallel park, or are we going to be pulling up just around the vehicle and doing an angled move off? What are we doing here? The road is quiet enough to do a parallel park, I think. So potentially parallel parking, but we'll see. Ryan has done a parallel park on his test. No, we're just driving on. Okay, so we're carrying on. That's just an angled move off, guys, angled start. So we're having to move around the vehicle. We're about a car length of space, making sure it's clear ahead and behind, and making sure that we don't cause anybody from either direction to have to do anything drastic. It's also a good test of making sure that you can move around a vehicle, control the car to move around the vehicle safely, not get too close to the parked vehicle, give them that car doors if possible. And we've pulled over again. So my only issue would be if you get pulled over a lot on your driving test, more so than you think you should, start thinking, am I missing something here? Is my blind spot check okay? Am I moving the car successfully? Is my clutch feeling okay? Am I using enough gas pressure to move away here? Am I doing a hill start? All that stuff. Ask yourself those kind of questions. Because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes an examiner that pulls you over on the left or the right potentially, the right would only be a manoeuvre, but on the left majority of times, a lot of occasions. So we've already pulled over, what, 4 times there? If you're pulling over 4 times in a very short space of time, I mean, we're only about 15 minutes into the drive, I believe. So, are we pulling over again? We're pulling over again in this space. Right, okay, cool. This must be a parallel park then. Or we're just going to drive on again, I don't know. But this is happening a lot. So this makes me feel like the examiner might be looking for something here. But there's nothing has happened. We've had 0 faults. So I wouldn't be getting worried, but I'd just be thinking, what are they looking for? Making sure your move off here is watertight and absolutely spot on. Now, I believe this is where Ryan's done a parallel park. The fact that he's waiting here for this amount of time with nothing behind him suggests that we're using this red car for a parallel park. Yes, we are. Parallel park is happening. So into reverse nice and quickly because there is a vehicle behind us. I want to make sure they're aware of what we're doing. We want to have a really good check all the way around before we start reversing backwards. So checking both blind spots all the way around, making sure that vehicle stays well back, giving us plenty of space. Done a lot of work with Ryan on this. So he was very good at it before, but we've just added a couple of extra little touches just to make that final turn really tight to the curb. So he's not steering too early and pulling away from the curb too much. Lots of observations happening. Coming in nicely, he's putting full lock on just gently to the right about now to bring the back of the car out away from the curb. Coming a little bit quick on that bit, but that's okay. Vehicle's moving off behind us. We're just going to be slow in just a second. Let them come past us a second. Yeah, good shout, Ryan. Well done. Just too many vehicles. Just crawling back very slowly while they go around us. I'd potentially stop if you're not sure, but we're crawling back just steady now. Can we come back any further? No, we've holded it there. That looks pretty spot on. I mean, it's difficult to tell from the dash cam, but the position he's in compared to the red vehicle that we just parallel parked behind looks pretty bob on. They might also say to you on the test, obviously, there's a drop curb here on the left of where we ended up. They may say to you, for this manoeuvre, don't worry about being by dropped curbs. You wouldn't usually park by a dropped curb because that might block a driveway, or in this case, an entranceway to the car park of the shops. But the examiner will have kind of accounted for that and said, for this manoeuvre, do not worry if you finish by a dropped curb. What are we going to do here, Ryan? Interesting. This is an interesting scenario. Oh. Okay. Controversial moment, I think, here. So, guys, I'm going to put this in the timestamps, okay? Could Ryan have done anything any better in that situation? There was a small space on the left for him to pull in and hide. The question I would raise is, we are alongside those vehicles at that moment in time. Who in that moment has priority? Again, we should never take priority. We should always wait to be given it. But we are alongside the parked vehicles moving ahead. The white car coming towards us sees that happening and proceeds, and then they have to reverse back. Who in that moment has priority? Us or the white car? Because that could have been an interesting situation on driving tests. If that white car had refused to move backwards, what would have happened? What could we have done differently there? I'm intrigued by your answers on that one, guys. Left at the end of this road anyway. Giving way to that one vehicle. Are there more vehicles? Possibly. Big orange thing. And now we're away. Okay. I now think we're heading off towards Whitchurch. So we're going to head off towards Long Lane and off towards the Market Drayton Road. So I believe we're taking the second exit on this roundabout. And look at the markings. They've changed recently. So the left lane is left turn only. We now have to go ahead, second exit, or even go right, third exit, right, fourth exit in the right-hand lane. The left lane can only turn left into Montgomery. So Ryan, we're in the correct lane here. The vehicles on the left are obviously turning left. Now we're going second exit, so we're going past this little hatched area, and then we're going to be signalling off to take the second exit. Got a speed change to 50, so we're going to bring our speed up. Increase that pressure, working through our gears, building up our speed. Now there are a set of traffic lights. Is a set of traffic lights on this road. They're on red currently. Ryan would have seen that and will be slowing. Arrows suggest both lanes can go ahead. So if you've got a really slow vehicle on that left-hand lane, you could use the right-hand lane to filter past, but please make sure you do it safely. Don't go racing past them. Don't exceed the speed limit. Don't cut them up as you come back into the left lane once you've gone past them. Only exceptional situations, if there's a tractor, sometimes tractors use this road to get out towards Whitchurch. If there's a really slow vehicle like that in the left-hand lane and you can see a light might change to green, into the right lane if possible. That's what it's there for. It's there to help traffic flow. But do not use it as a racetrack, please. Up to 50 miles an hour by the looks of it. I'm getting towards 50 by the looks of it anyway. Out of that portion of slow traffic, parked vehicles, built up situations into a slightly faster flowing section right now. So you'll see they'll get you to do a variety of different roads, different traffic conditions to see what's happening. Could that vehicle pull out? We've got the brake lights on, possibly. Be aware of things like that, being extra cautious. Looking for lights, things like that. If they were sat with their handbrake on, those brake lights would not be on, so you could be a bit more reassured they weren't going to move, but the brake lights are on, so they might move. Pedestrians just on the pavements, running on the the bike tracks, cycle tracks. Now, there's two roundabouts together here. If I'm correct with what I've been told, we're going ahead on the first one, so set ahead second exit. But then we're turning right on the second roundabout. So we can do one or two things here. We can either use the left lane to go ahead and then move into the right-hand lane afterwards. Or, if you look at the arrows, we could, if we knew we were going right on the next roundabout, we could go in the right-hand lane, exit this roundabout in the right-hand lane, and then just turn right when we're already in the lane to turn. Ryan's using the left-hand lane, which is perfectly fine. And then we're then looking at a way across to the right-hand lane. It's clear to do that. There's no one there. There is a van, but they're quite far back. And we're turning right, third exit towards Whitchurch on the signposts. Heading out towards Long Lane. Got a nice shield there. Are we going? Yeah, I think we are. Good. A nice shield of vehicles there blocking that traffic from the right-hand side, so we should be going there. Processing that. But you see how Ryan slows enough to give himself time to process what's happening there. He's slowing to process what's going on, to make sure he's got time, make sure he's got the right judgment, get that situation correct and safe. Just being overtaken. Okay, interesting. And then the guy's putting his brakes on for no reason. Interesting as well. Up to national speed limit, the smallest 60 road and the 60 sign in the world on the left-hand side. I always find the little dinky 60 sign very funny. National speed limit. Long country road. Can really get up to 60 miles an hour down this road. We really should be getting to 60 up down this road. Plenty of chance to do that. Easing off slightly into the corners, just making sure we're going around the corner controlled and safe. No one's emerging from these two little side roads and the crossroads. Long straight stretch now. And in high winds, be extra aware, because obviously they're quite exposed, so you might get a bit of crosswind. So just be aware of keeping control of the car, keeping a nice grip on the wheel, making sure we got steady steering, steady positioning all the way. Spoke to Ryan after the test, and he said he knew this little area because he used to come out here quite a bit. I can't remember what he said. He's used this road quite a bit, he said, so he knew where he was headed. think he said he'd been to the Ugly Duckling restaurant a few times, the pub a few times, so that's coming up shortly. Now this road will carry on all the way to Whitchurch, the Market Drayton. You can even get on this road to like Chester, even Liverpool. So you could carry on this road for a long, long way. But we're going to turn off shortly. We're coming to Long Lane, which is a little village. And there's a pub on the left called the Ugly Duckling. And there's a very, very sharp left turn coming up. I mean very sharp. There's this sign telling you there's a staggered crossroads. Lots of signs saying turn left. There's also a little slip road to go into to bring that speed down gradually. Do we use it? We use it a little bit. That's nice speed, well done. So it goes sharp left, sharp right. So don't go in the car park, obviously, because that's not where you're going. And then sharp left again here. This is probably the sharpest bit of the lot. Don't go ahead or into that caravan park because that's not where you're going. This is your road. And believe it or not, the speed has not changed. So it's still a 60 speed limit. Limit being the very apt word in this situation. Are we going to do 60 down this road? Hell no, we're not. We're going to pick an appropriate speed to drive down this road. As you can see already, two vehicles coming the other way. The space is narrow. Do not be doing 60 down this road, guys. Some idiots will. Some people will try and do it. But please make sure that you are driving at an appropriate speed, not at the limit. Because it's just not safe to be doing that. There are sections when you can raise it a little bit. Like this bit's probably 30, 35 maximum. But as you can see now, getting a bit wide, a bit more open. Your vision ahead is a bit better. So your limit point on the roads again a little bit further reaching. So you can see a bit further down the road. And then we're coming. So we picked up a bit of speed. As you can see, Ryan's increasing speed now nicely. What looks like a pothole on the road isn't a pothole unless they filled it in. Unless I'm going mad. It's still there. It's just a bit of a broken bit of road. You can just drive in the middle of it. And we're going to turn left at the end of this road, I believe. I don't think we're going to turn right because that's way off course. And again, no speed change signs. So still national speed limit joining this next road as well. That was a really nice bit of observation there. Maybe we didn't fully stop, but we were slow enough and picking probably first gear there to have a really good look and making sure we were clear. Lovely work, mate. Still a national speed limit. So again, still bringing that speed up. Still raising it. But again, is it appropriate to do 60? It might be more of a 50 sort of road, this. Especially with these bends. Not a lot of visibility around these corners. So perhaps not going flat out to 60. Perhaps picking a slightly more appropriate paired back speed to accommodate the cornering. And the visibility and the risk. Slowing back down in a minute. You will see some 40 speed change signs shortly. A gateway to 40. So making sure we're at 40 comfortably for the signs. You can see them coming up there. And we will be at 40. By the looks of it, Ryan's dealt with that really well. Nothing behind him anyway, so no worries on how much to brake or how to approach that braking. Don't have to worry too much about that at all. Still want it to be smooth, obviously, for the examiner. We want to give the examiner a nice, smooth, safe ride, but nothing behind us means that we haven't got to worry too much about the braking amount and the braking harshness. Now, are we turning right here or are we carrying on? I think we're carrying on. There is a route, I believe, that turns right into there, but I don't think we're going there today. Or we're carrying on by the looks of it. I've learnt a lot already from this route. So this is a route that I am going to start looking at teaching, I guess, because there are some pitfalls on this bit that you could get wrong quite easily. Yeah, trench lock at the start, obviously, could go wrong, as we always know. Trench lock is the bane of people's lives in some places, although I do try and make it slightly more normal, which I normalise it, make it slightly more visible and see a lot. I'll try and make it as regular as I can on driving lessons, and hopefully your instructor that you're with is too. And the one-way street, I guess, coming out at the end, positioning could be interesting. The traffic light with the filter light could be interesting. That right-hand ahead option on that roundabout coming out of Hadley Park Road could be interesting. Long lane definitely is a very good hotspot. I've included that on a video before. Are we going left at the end? I believe we are. So we're not able to use the hatched red area because that's not for us to drive in. That stops the people from cutting the corner and taking this turn too fast. So they put that in to basically avoid people coming around that bend too quick, just emerging from the T-junction without looking. It's quite a busy T-junction at times as well. As you can see, School traffic looks like it's starting to build up a little bit. There are a few schools nearby, so it seems to be building up a little bit. We're kind of coming back, I guess, towards Horton Wood now. So we're in Shawbirch currently. Just going back to go past the Woolpack pub. And yeah, I mentioned a lot of pubs. A lot of my frames of reference, like I don't actually drink, but a lot of my frames of reference are, oh, you buy that pub, yeah, buy the Woolpack, yeah, cool. He's sticking out a little bit there, so that's a good adjustment from Ryan there to accommodate that. The white car was just edging out, starting out into the roundabout a little bit, so Ryan's just adjusted a little bit there. We'll probably have a mirror check hopefully as well. Make sure that centre position's okay to take. Now, are we going ahead here, or are we turning right on this roundabout? We can probably go one of two ways here. Sort of looks like we're going ahead. Ahead second exit, back there I've just come from, just in a bit of circle really. So ahead second exit. And we already know there's a roundabout straight afterwards because we've literally done those roundabouts about 5 minutes ago. And by the looks of it, we're going to go ahead on this next one as well because there's nothing on the right hand side apart from a housing estate. We've already done a manoeuvre, so no parking's getting done. So we're going ahead by the looks of it. So going from 40 to 50. So bringing that speed up again. And again, we know about these roads already. We've literally just done them about 5 minutes ago. So again, the first half of this test is all about slow, conscientious driving, navigating through spaces, dealing with parked vehicles, dealing with tight turns. And I guess that is the reason why we've been pulled over a lot at the start of the test, because this section, there isn't really anywhere safe and sensible. We can't park on these roads because they're single white lines, so there's no stopping, no parking. The roads are too fast and risky to do that anyway. So that's why we've pulled over so many times at the start of the test. It looks like it's happening so frequently because in this back half of the test, there's nowhere safe to pull over. Roads don't seem too bad going the other way. It seems a little bit busier going back the opposite direction, back to where we've just come from. But coming this way, apart from us and this learner vehicle, there's not much really going on. Now, are these lights going to stay on green? These are the ones I'll be perhaps easing off for a little bit, just in case. Just bringing my speed down a touch. Been caught at these lights before. They're staying green, so we're good. Coming to the next roundabout, we're going ahead. Second exit. Back towards Horton Wood, I imagine now. We're going to be getting close to the end of our driving test. And this is another sting in the tail towards the end. And the arrows are pretty normal. They've remarked this roundabout from every direction quite nicely, actually, so it makes it a little bit easier to follow the lanes now. The conjecture we used to have of vehicles cutting around us and things like that, this is in an effort to stop that happening and stop the amount of collisions on roundabouts like this happening. So they've done a good job. There's a few roundabouts I'm not overly used to yet, but I will get used to them the more I do them with my students. But the markings in Telford that have changed recently, and there are videos coming, guys, believe me, I've got some videos to film. So there are videos about these new roundabouts, layouts, and the new road markings to be aware of. It's going to make you as a student, as a learner driver, you need to be really looking at road markings and arrows on the floor, because you need to know what lane is going where. Because no longer can you assume that the left lane will always take you ahead, because a number of roundabouts have changed in Telford now, and you have to use the right-hand lane to go ahead. The left lane is left turn only. And I'm hoping that there will be signs put up in the long run to suggest and help people out earlier and decide that earlier. A bit like the Jungle Land roundabout we saw earlier on. But for now, there are no signs at all. So you have to really, really think about what your arrows are saying. Really interpret it and look ahead. Sit up in your seat, look in early. Now, we're just hitting a patch of traffic at the end. So this might be the reason why we were slightly late back off our driving test, because I was getting a bit worried at this point because we were running a little bit behind. The other two learners on their driving test have both come back. And obviously we are in this queue. And I know for a fact this instructor in front of me was on the next test because they've parked in the car park when we've been coming back in. So I know that we were both going the same way. Now, is that van going to be naughty and trying to overtake? Or it looks like they're staying there. They're staying put, aren't they? So we're good. Just keep an eye. Even though the lanes have pretty much merged here, still keep one eye on that right-hand lane, because you might get a vehicle chance it. And your view around the back of that van behind us is pretty obscured right now. So really check in before you commit to close that space down. Even now, I'd still be having a quick little look. You never know. There you go. Seems to have all closed off now. Traffic's moving a little better. This is just going to be the little bit of school traffic we're hitting, and then by this point in time, it's about 10 past 3 maybe. 5 past 10 past 3. So we're just hitting a little bit of traffic into the 40 zone, but there's a chance of that happening right now. So continue as we are. Now, when you're in queues of traffic like this, make sure you can always see the vehicle ahead of you. Make sure you can always see their back wheels and a bit of road between us and the bottom of the vehicle, because that way there's an escape plan for you. If they roll backwards, they're not going to roll into you. If they break down and can't move away, you can drive around them. If there's an emergency vehicle behind you, it means you've got to push yourself to the left onto the grass to help them clear through the traffic. You need space, and if you're right at the bum of the vehicle in front of you, you leave yourself no escape plan at all. So Ryan's got a nice gap there, can you see? So we can see back wheels, whole of the back bumper of the car, and a little bit of road underneath the wheels as well. So we're seeing tyres and tarmac. I don't really like using tyres and tarmac very much because it makes people look down at the road. I'd rather you just make sure you can see the whole of the vehicle in your windscreen. So here we can see every part of that vehicle, the wheels, bumper, everything. And that way we're looking ahead rather than looking down at the floor. We might miss things like traffic lights if we're doing things like that. Just waiting for a sensible gap. Just hanging back still, not pressuring this learner at all, which is good. Now we're crawling forwards. We're also turning left back into Horton Wood, going back to the test centre. Good. Home stretch now. So at this point, Ryan's got to be happy with this, because this has been an exceptional drive, obviously, 0 faults. There's just that one situation I want to just chat about, and I think if you've got any comments on that, guys, please kindly let me know. Regarding the Audi in the meeting situation earlier on, who has priority, who should cede priority in that place, what should happen there? Was the Audi right to reverse back, or should Ryan do something a bit differently? It obviously didn't matter on the driving test because we got passed with 0 faults, but that would be my questioning at the end. I'm quite a harsh examiner. I don't think I'd fail him for it, but I think I'd be asking him what his decision was going to be had that situation not gone the way it was going to go. That'd be my question. And Ryan, if you're listening and you're watching this back, comment what you think it is as well. I'd like to see your comment as well, mate. See what you think at that moment, if you can remember it. Now you get to relive it on the video. Turning down into the test centre road. By this point, probably about 7-8 minutes past 3. Getting towards 10 past 3. It must be later than that, actually, because this car would be coming to the 3:29 test. So it must be 3:15, I guess. 3:15, 3:17 maybe. So we're not supposed to enter the test centre until 10 minutes before our driving test time. To be honest with you, me and Ryan came in about 5 minutes before, because there's no point in lingering in that waiting room at all. It's horrible. So spend as little time in the waiting room as you can, guys, but make sure you're in the car park promptly. But if you don't come in too early, basically. So we've let this vehicle reverse park. As you can see, there's a couple of vehicles already here. The Corsa on the right has finished their driving test. The silver vehicle on the left is about to do a driving test. And this learner is about to do a driving test as well. So we're just going to let them park, and then we're going to come in the test centre. Anyway, we do a forward park at the end because we've done a parallel park already on the drive. We get back at the end. I come over for the debrief, and basically he's passed. And then nothing is said about any faults, so I didn't actually think to ask about that. But then as I'm driving back home, I said to Ryan, how many faults do you get, do you reckon? He went, I got 0. I was like, oh, how do you know that? He went, because he told me. I said, oh, okay, I didn't hear that. So I didn't, maybe they said that before I got to the car or not, I don't know. But we looked at the sheet, and there was, sure enough, there's nothing on the test sheet. So 0 faults, amazing work, mate. Congratulations. And yeah, if you like the video, guys, please like and put the notification on subscribe if you haven't already to get all the new videos. There'll be lots of videos coming about these new roundabouts, layouts in Telford, guys, new road markings, new signs, new arrows. For everyone that supported me in 2024, it's been a particularly trying year personally, but professionally it's been good. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for saying hello to me in shopping centres and in test centres and in places that you've found me. I feel like a bit of a celebrity, which is quite nice with my 1.24 thousand subscribers. Anyway, very humbled. Thank you guys, and hope you've enjoyed the video. Me rambling on again. Take care.